right, we'll get started with John. Who is the first question? Start with Keegan in the second row.
Hey, John, how would you describe what we saw from Max tonight?
Really good. Dude's 41. And, I said it before, it's easy to say before the game. He lives for this, and you have to respect that and you have to appreciate that. So I thought he actually got better as the game went on, to be honest with you. And the change up to Naylor, he had really good stuff. And I think it was just almost too hard of a changeup. But after that, man, breaking ball, curveball, slider, good, changeup, good, held his velo. That's why he's going to the Hall of Fame.
Can you walk us through that very brave first walk you made to the mound and what was
Sure, yeah. I've been waiting for that all year, for Max to yell at me on the mound. And I think at that point, there's numbers, there's projections, there's strategy, and there's people. So I was trusting people, and I think in that moment you kind of relive every conversation I've had with him over the course of the year, and trusted him to make pitches. I was joking with him. I've been waiting for that moment since our Zoom call in the offseason before we signed him. Loved it. There's a little more of that in between to send him back out for the 6th too. Talking about how we don't talk to him when he's starting. I definitely talked to him, and that was another fun conversation in the tunnel. So he was awesome, man. And when a guy is in it, when a guy is in the arena performing and doing well, I'm going to trust him to continue to do it.
We'll stay there with Mike.
Given that it was your first experience with the Mad Max that we've been hearing about for so long, was it what you expected?
Yeah, it was awesome. I thought he was going to kill me. It was great. He locked eyes with me, both colors as I walked out, and it's not fake. That's the thing. It's not fake. He has this Mad Max persona, but he backed it up tonight. So it was, the infielders had a good laugh too out there. And he got the job done.
It looked like he said to you, "Yeah, I'm sure," before he said, "Let's go," and you walk back to the dugout. What did you ask him there?
I just said, well, he started the conversation with "I'm good," and I said, "Are you sure?" And you could probably read lips, but I told him to execute. I'm leaving you in. I'm leaving you in to execute, and he did.
Second row, you're right, Ben.
John, all season you guys have had offensive contributions from really up and down the lineup and some so-called unexpected sources. Tonight, to get that from Andres, to get that from IKF, what does that mean for your group and for your win today?
Just us, It's really cool that it's been 2 nights in a row with Hemi. Today's game was just it was just like people, you know what I mean? It's just trusting Izzy to be ready and play, and he responded. I'm really happy for him, and I'm really happy for Hemi, who's grinded all year, and all of a sudden you get a lot of recognition when you're in the postseason, and he's having phenomenal at bats. So really, it was kind of like yesterday where it was up and down. You know what I mean? Guys taking walks, a couple homers, and then Hemi again, off Hancock there with second and third. So Barge had good at bats. It was kind of what we do.
Jordan?
John, can you talk about the pickoff from Scherzer? Not something we've seen from him very recently. Was that a play that he put on, or Kirky, or how'd that go?
It's DeMarlo. I heard. I think I heard from Ken Rosenthal. It was his first one in 9 years. The thing about Max is he really understands the game. I think when the disengagement rules kind of came in, he was always a guy that kind of just lobbed the ball over to first, didn't really care about the running game, did a good job holding, varying his times, but it's something that he's worked on it. You know what I mean? Like he's 41 and he's still working on his craft. So that was a huge momentum point. I think it was 3-1 at the time, right, with Cal at the plate. So it was by design. You know what I mean? Big play right there.
Up front here.
John, going back to that Mad Max moment, what does that do for your team when they see that Warrior kind of, say, I want to be in the game? How does that pick up the rest of your team in that moment?
Yeah, I think it's a real thing. Even going back to Shane coming in, off the mound in the first inning yesterday and saying, hey, pick me up, I got this. These guys have earned the moment a little bit, you know what I mean? And I think when you sign a guy like Max, when you acquire a guy like Shane, these are the moments you do it for. So it definitely, I think everyone in the dugout was kind of waiting for that moment, right? When you sign Max Scherzer, you're kind of waiting for that moment. So it definitely gave us a little bit of a jolt, when he came in. And all that aside, I'm proud of the way Max has handled everything, from getting himself right physically, being left off the roster last series against the Yankees and handling it like a pro, and then coming out and performing like this. So that was big for everyone going forward.
Third row on your left, John.
I don't know if it's anything, but looked after the third inning when Max came off the mound, went down the dugout, and looked like Pete Walker tried to talk to him, and Max didn't really want anything to do with it. Was that just nothing?
No, that's nothing at all. That's okay. You never really know when he's coming off the mound if he's going to be in a good mood or a bad mood. But no, that was absolutely nothing.
And talk about Addison in right field, first time in weeks, and what he did today.
I mean, the diving catch, we expect him to handle the routine play, but the catch to his left, the catch going back, we've asked a lot of this dude, for a young guy. And he does his work. He knows that we can move him around. It's not easy. It's not easy to do. So it's two huge plays. He had good at-bats, too. Last couple games have been good for him. And, I think that it's a luxury to, he makes those plays and you take him out for defense and you kind of upgrade, on paper, So I think it's roster construction, but it's also him doing the work to be ready for it.
We'll stay there with Mitch.
John, you'd been down in series before a couple times and not gotten back to even like you have in this one. I know you've talked a lot about like the players learning from those experiences, kind of learning to flip the page. What did you learn from those experiences that might have helped you guys get back to this moment in the series?
I think, if you treat this like a regular season, which is hard to do, you can kind of move on and turn the page and say what's important now. I've said it a million times to you guys this year. They're living it and they're doing it. So I think we've been through some stuff over the past 3-4 years as a group, as a guys that have been here pretty consistently, and I think we kind of just got to the point we just said, okay, we got to change the way we approach it. But I give all the credit to the guys, veteran guys, young guys, really believing in it. Again, it's one game. You got to, game's over. We got another game tomorrow. And that's how they approach it. That's what they were talking about before I came in here. So as nice as it is right now, and you even the series, we got a game tomorrow, and you gotta get back after it.
John in the last row.
Thanks, John. So Vladdy didn't see his typical results in games 1 and 2, and obviously in the last 2 games he has. His swing so well and him so well. How have you seen him process a couple tough games in a different way now maybe than he has in the past to have the kind of night that he had tonight?
Yeah, it's kind of like the evolution of Vlad this year, with, let's be honest, with the contract comes a lot of extracurriculars, you know what I mean? And he's met them head on. And I said it before the game, I think the pitches he swung at in games 1 and 2 were the right pitches to swing at, but he was a little bit over anxious and ended up, leading to some ground balls. So I think Vladdy a couple years ago might have been a little stubborn. Vladdy right now in this moment in 2025 has the ability to kind of take a step back, process what he's doing, what the results are, and leans into his teammates and leans into his coaches. And he's made some adjustments. So that was a big swing, to get the run back there after Gino hit the RBI single. That was a big swing just from momentum and, who they have coming in. But Vlad has come such a long way in I don't want to say a short period of time. It's kind of been building up to this moment, I think, for Vlad, and he's in a good spot right now.
Second row, your far left, John.
John, forgive me if I saw this incorrectly, but when you pulled Max, it looked like you took the game ball and slid it in your back pocket there. I'm just curious what the thought process was there with the game ball.
Don't know. Maybe someone told me to keep it from the dugout, authenticators. I don't know if it's a fossil, if you will, going to a museum. I don't know if there's any significance to it, so I just put it in my pocket and brought it in the dugout. Pretty cool for Max to have. He's got a lot of stuff in his mantle, but I don't know if he wanted it.
Up front of your left, Greg.
Hey, John, before the game, can you walk us through the decision with Tony and how tough was that?
Yeah, really tough. You know what I mean? Because when you're making the decision, you're ending his season. He felt worse today coming in after playing last night. So you're weighing out the risk reward of, do you play a man or two short? Hey, man.
He's raring to go. He's raring to go.
You're weighing out the risk reward of playing a man short for a day or two, which is not what we want to do. It's not how we're built. So it was hard, but he's been really transparent with how he's been feeling too. So tough decision. It was one of those years for him, really, seasons in general. But his job right now is to support everyone, and he's going to continue to do that.
We'll finish up in the second row on your right.
Real quick, can you just talk a little bit about the lack of home field advantage so far in this series?
Baseball, weird, you know what I mean? Who knows? We've played well here this year. I don't know if the guys think about that. I think they just kind of turn the page to the next game. I can't really explain it. We love playing at home. And the first two games didn't work out that way. But I love the way we've come back here the last two games, and we got to keep it going tomorrow.
All right, Schneider, thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.
Great job. All right, Max, congrats on a great night. Who's got the first question? I'll start with Simon, second row. Excuse me, Keegan in the second row.
Max, we just talked to Schneider about when he came out for that first mound visit there and the interaction you guys had. How did that feel to be able to stay in and have that with him?
Yeah, it was a big moment in the game right there. It was just a situation I was going through it in my head. I understood where the game state was, knew how I wanted to attack, and then all of a sudden I saw Schneider coming out, and I kind of went, whoa. Like, I'm not coming out of this ball game. Like, I feel too good. And so we had a little conversation that basically I wanted to stay in the ball game, but just with some other words involved. But I just knew I was strong. I knew I wanted the ball. I knew I could get outs in this situation, and I just wanted to stay in. I wanted it.
Right next to Keegan, Mike.
How did it feel, Max, to back that up immediately, to fight to stay in the game and then strike the next hitter out?
Oh, it's great. It's what you play the game for. You're in the biggest moment of the season right now. These games are must win, every single one of them. And when you get success, it's great. This is what you play for. You work so hard the whole year, make all the sacrifices, put on all the work in to get to this moment, to have these type of moments, to be able to win in the postseason. So it's just a great effort by our team all the way around. Our offense, our defense, our relievers, everybody contributed tonight, and that's what makes it special.
In that first inning, it looked like it took you a little while to get going. You had the 8 straight balls to Cal and Julio. Was it just a matter of getting your feel back after 3 weeks away, or what was it?
Yeah, there was an element of that. I kind of knew that could be a possibility coming in. And kind of played out that way. Just this execution was just a tick off. Trying to get a feel for where the zone is. You're trying to make perfect pitches in those situations. And I didn't want, the top of the order to beat me and right off the bat. And unfortunately, I walked, 2 guys. But thankfully, I was able to get a big double play ball to kind of get out of that inning and kind of get. And I felt like then I was kind of able to get into the rhythm of the game and start attacking the zone better. But it definitely the layoff did play a role into it. Knew that could happen. But I didn't. Get frustrated. I just kind of sat there and said, okay, you knew this could happen. How are you going to respond and execute around that? Like, just go back to the basics and just think through the situation of how you want to execute pitches against the next hitter.
Second row, you're right, Ben.
Hey, Max, just wondering, what's the mindset now that you guys have tied the series 2-2? You've won the game. Where are you at?
Every game is must win. It doesn't change. Whether you're up, down, every game you play is must win. So we've been playing well. We just got to continue to play well.
Jordan, right here.
Max, can you walk us through the pickoff in the third inning? Not something we've seen from you in a long time. And how did that come about?
Yeah, fortunately, I got a big out in a big situation right there. I got the pickoff call, from the pitch comm, and just tried to wait out the clock as long as I could, and then make a good snap throw. And it wasn't my best throw, but it was obviously. I put it in the right spot so Vladdy could get the tag. So that ended up being a huge out, especially when you're facing Cal in that situation. There's a big difference between 1 out and run on first and 2 outs, nobody on. So, that was a big turning point in the game to allow me to stay aggressive at them.
And right up front, Max.
Just take us, without getting too personal, how you stayed focused from your last outing to now physically and mentally for you to be ready for this moment.
I kind of went back and thought about some of the outings I've had where I've been coming off the IL. I've had a couple outings where I've had extended time off and then came out, and I've actually pitched well in sometimes in those situations. And so, I kind of told myself, like, hey, you're going to be rusty. You got to find the zone. You got to find the zone with all your pitches. But, with the layoff, my arm felt great. My arm felt, was fresh. All the little ailments that I've been dealing with were gone, so I was able to get through the ball much better. Just for me, it was getting in the flow of the game and executing pitches.
Mitch in the third row on your left, Max.
Max, especially in kind of 2025, maybe not every manager would have let you kind of fight back in that situation, stay in the game. What is it about the relationship you have with Schneids and him as a manager that you think allowed him or let him allow you to stay in that game?
I think he wasn't planning on. I think when I'm gathering from the bullpen and everything, that he wasn't actually planning on taking me out. He just wanted to check on me. So I don't think I actually fought to stay in. I think it was kind of a mind game to kind of get me going. So who knows?
Did it work?
Well, we got the result, so.
Go to John in the fourth row.
Hi, Max. You alluded a little bit earlier to the sacrifices that you make over the course of a season. I wonder, this year, can you reflect on the people that have helped you get to this moment in your life with the team that allow you to enjoy a night like this?
It's everybody within the Blue Jays organization, starting the spring training, who you're working with, all the staff, all the coaches doing that. It takes your family, all the sacrifice you make with your family and the 4 kids, It's a number, with the season, with the road trips. The kids are getting a little older. It's a little bit tougher to leave at home. So, as much as I'm grinding too, my wife and kids they're grinding with me too. So it's a kind of family situation here with your team, your family at home, everybody else's family. It's a big. It's not just me. Going out there and pitching. There's a lot of people behind the scenes help me as well. And it's all throughout the years. I'm in the spot because of a lot of people who have had fingerprints in my career as well, and advice they've given me and how they've worked me. So you get one of these moments, you kind of reflect upon all these, but as good as that feels, you also know what we're playing for. It's not over. This is a tight series. I mean, we just tied it up. It's great, but we still got work to do. And this is you get to these moments and everybody's pulling on, thinking the same thing. You're all trying to win to get to the end at the end.
And just to follow up, just one quick thing. I looked today at the first postseason lineup that you faced, 2011, Jeter, A-Rod, Cano, from a different time. When you think about how you experienced that one and this one, in some ways, do the games now maybe mean something in a different dimension to you as you look at your career, Max?
No. No, because the excitement of beating those guys back in 2011, it's the same excitement as today of beating the players from this generation. You can't get higher than this level of baseball, postseason baseball. So when you had success, 14 years ago, it's the same as today. It's the highest you can possibly be at.
Second row on your left, Matt.
Max, your curveball in particular seemed like you had a really good feel for that tonight. I think it tied a career high for most whiffs in a game with 6. Why do you think the curveball was so effective for you, and specifically what was going through your head after the one you got a Rosarena with?
It just, that's just kind of how the cookie crumbled tonight. Yeah, there was just times where I just felt like I could rip a good, I just felt like I was ripping the curveball really well, and Kirky was calling it, and was like, in my head, is this the right pitch? But then I was like, I see what he's, like, I feel good with this pitch. And so I knew where I needed to execute it. I've been working with the hitting coaches of how I need to think and throw that curveball. And kind of those moments, I needed to execute the curveball exactly in this location. And, I wasn't going to get beat on location with the curveball. So, for me, when that call was coming in my head, I was just like, all right, rip it and get it to the right location.
Take a few final ones. Greg up front.
Max, can you walk us through the conversation when you get back to the dugout after the 5th inning with your manager?
Kind of everybody was fired up, and I was good to go. Give me the ball.
We'll finish up in the second row on your left, Max.
Max, you've seen, obviously, a ton of baseball. It feels a lot of the time like when people are put in spots that they weren't supposed to be in, they come through. Addison Barger wasn't supposed to play right field today. Isiah wasn't supposed to start today. What did you see out of them in unexpected spots?
I mean, Barge has played right field for us, and I've seen him do some great stuff, and he's got a heck of an arm. So, 2 plays, he makes a great play into the gap. When Rivas hit the ball out there, he makes a good running catch. And then, obviously, when Flew gave up the hit, and then he fires at the third to get a huge, just to end the inning in that situation, end their kind of momentum in that situation. I've seen him play this whole year, and he's wowed me in so many different ways, especially on the defensive side. He's a great player, great hitter, and so he's one of those guys that are just on our team that grinds and finds ways to help win ball games in all different facets. And that's what makes our team so exciting to play for and be a part of, because we have guys up and down our roster that are like that.
And just on Jimenez, out of the 9 spot, big homer, 2 games in a row. What are you seeing from him?
I didn't get to see the homer. I'm kind of blind what's going on the offensive side. I asked, like, what happened? How did we get Castillo? And they was like, oh, him hit the homer. I was like, I didn't even realize that he did. I was so happy for him that he was able to get that. So, like I said, we're a complete team up and down the lineup. Him, stepping in and playing shortstop for us. He's played an unbelievable shortstop, and then he's given us offense too. Like I said, we're a complete team.
All right, Max, congrats on a great night. Appreciate it. We'll start with Ben on your right.
Hey, Isiah. When the Blue Jays acquired you, you said you wanted to be the best 10th man that you could be. To be here in the ALCS, getting 2 hits, contributing to this win, what does that mean for you and for this team?
It means a lot for me. It means a lot for the team. I think the biggest part is not being in the lineup coming into the day, and just being ready for the opportunity. And the coaching staff has done a great job of kind of helping me get to where I was last year, and trying everything I can to just get back to where I had so much success last year. And it was nice to come out with the win and also have some individual success tonight.
Third row on your left,
Isiah, a couple ones for you. Number one, after watching the first couple innings of at-bats, how did the observations that you took in those 2 innings lead to the approach that you had there in the third?
Yeah, it was just I've had some success off of Castillo in the past, so I've had a lot of years in this league and a lot of at-bats off of him. So I was able to just slow the game down and kind of just go with just watch how he attacks all the big boys. And, if he attacks those guys that way, they're probably going to attack me the same way. So just making the adjustments in game. But, hitting at the bottom of the order, it is nice to get those, you can get those reads early, and, I'm able to make my adjustment.
And as an infielder, you had one of the best views of anybody in the ballpark, Isiah, of John Schneider walking out to the mound to talk to Max. What was going through your mind as you were watching that encounter happen?
That was incredible. It was a first ballot Hall of Famer. I was nervous. I'm always nervous around Max when he's pitching. I was told not to touch him, not to talk to him, and for him to see that fire, or for me to see that fire, and for him to finish the inning, I think that was the coolest part. Is a lot of guys try that and then they end up not finishing the inning, but Max was able to finish the inning, and that's why he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Stay over there with Mitch.
Schneider has talked about kind of having some more field this year. What did you think about the decision to kind of back off and let Max have that inning?
He's earned that. Not many people in this game have earned that right, but he's earned that right. First ballot Hall of Famer. He knows himself. He's been in this game for a very long time. He's had so much success, and if he wants to go back out there He can go back out there. He just needs to get the job done, and he got it done. So for him to double down and get it done, especially with that tough lineup, just shows why he is who he is. And it was pretty cool to see the fire. I think the fire right there was something that was like, dang, you're talking to the manager. But for him to finish that off was it's pretty impressive.
Okay.
And then when you look back a couple days ago when you guys were down 0-2, this team's talked about kind of turning the page so well. What was kind of the message from Schneider and the coaching staff before these last 2 wins?
We dealt with adversity all year. We almost lost the AL East lead, and we played every game the same way we have been playing the last couple of days. Our backs were against the wall. We had to go on a little bit of a run, and we ended up getting the job done. So I think just going through that adversity during the season has allowed us to kind of stay the same. We didn't get too high, we didn't get too low. Coaches did a great job all around of not panicking, kind of keeping the mood light. Normally you go down 2-0 and you're doing PFPs. We kind of kept our normal routine, and guys were able to kind of just slow the game down, and we were able to come up, big here in these last 2 games, and hopefully we can keep going.
Second row, you're right, Ben.
You mentioned not knowing that you were in the starting lineup initially. Obviously, Santander was taken off the roster. Can you walk us through what your day was like when you found out that you were going to be playing, what your preparation was like, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think we go back to the 10th man. My job for this team is to be ready if someone is to get injured, and that could be during the game, before the game. So I just, I went at how I go at every day, just ready for any opportunity, ready to pinch bunt, ready to pinch run, defense, hit off a lefty. So just being ready for every opportunity I get, and just so happened that they called my name, and for me nothing changes. Just going at it the same way every day, and until I get that opportunity.
Kind of fair to say you kind of keep yourself mentally locked in throughout this process?
Yeah, because usually if I'm in the game, it's biggest spot, 9th inning defense, close game. So if I'm not locked in, I'm doing the team a disservice. So try to be almost extra locked in, knowing that if I do come in the game, it's going to be very crucial spot. So it's almost more nerve-wracking to come in late in the game. But just being ready from the beginning, just in case someone was to get injured or at any point. So that's my job, and I was ready to do it today.
Other questions for Isiah? Yes. Kevin, we'll get you the mic.
Fellow 10th man here. I know a little bit about what you're going through. Take us behind the scenes of what you kind of do to prepare, whether it's machine to keep your timing, and is there something you do at the plate to kind of slow the game down, whether it's sitting on pitches, relying on video to kind of, pick a pitch that you feel comfortable swinging at?
Yeah, you kind of know, your windows. So just preparing off of guys you think you're going to face, the trajectory, the new machine that came out has been a big help in Toronto, and not having it on the road, but the coach is able to adjust the machine to the shapes of the pitchers, and just a lot of mental reps and a lot of, velocity machines. So, just doing everything and anything I can to stay ready.
Other questions for Isiah? All right, Isiah, congrats on a great
thanks,
night.
guys.
Appreciate it.